Date is June 26th, the weekly TAN governance meeting, where we go over all the governance to try to kick off the TAN network. TAN network is essentially a fork of the Tangle to keep the Tangle layer 1 alive as sort of Shimmer gets abandoned and IOTA is moving on to rebased. This is basically a fully bottom-up execution of just community built and community run. So just go over the previous meetings. Well, let's go over the last week votes. We did 2 votes. One was to kind of see that, if we adjust the time of the meeting, can we get more participation? And we did a vote basically asking, do we keep the same time or do we do 1 or 2 hours earlier or 1 or 2 hours later? It was pretty significant. 12 votes voting for 2 hours later. So I think we should go with that and at least try it for a few weeks. I know that Edward said he can do 2 hours later. It's pushing a little late for him, but it's good to see JIGL here. You've definitely been active in the chats and we appreciate that. And sorry if 2 hours later doesn't work. We're just trying to find the best time to get the most activity in these weekly meetings. So does anyone oppose next week shifting the time per the consensus to give that a go? Go once, twice, 3.
Nope. Just want to echo that it's great for Eastern hour lunchtime as well, since it brings us to noon Eastern and 6 p.m.
Nice.
German time.
Yeah, I mean it would be better for myself as well, but I'm happy to try to do whatever gets the most activity. Okay, so Bill Poster, let's note that we can change the time on all the alerts in the Discord, please. And then let me just, and the other one, which was a little surprising to myself, was the question of, to promote network stability, align incentives, encourage long-term holders. What should the vesting schedule be for airdrops? Essentially, the initial airdrop, or this could even be sort of bounty payouts, etc. But I think majority for the initial airdrop, should it be instant? Essentially, everyone gets their tokens right away. A vesting schedule of 6 months, so every 2 weeks, 1 month, 1 week, whatever the time interval, you get a percentage of those tokens over that designated length. So, and then there was 24 votes, 24 months, and instant came at 18 votes, and 12 months came in at 17. And I think it's really interesting because I think I'd be curious if anyone in this group that's active, that's really putting time and effort into this, would anyone vote for instant? First off, I just kind of want to get a pulse.
Can I speak philosophically on? Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Edward.
Thank you. Okay, I'll go first. Just philosophically, I don't like vested payments. Having said that, practically, I do understand the need, because if every single person gets all of their money, their TAN immediately, it's going to cause a huge run on the banks. So I get that gradual deployment is necessary, but I understand why there were so many votes. For instance, like, well, are we going to be a network, a decentralized network, or are we going to be centrally controlled with centrally decided vesting? So I understand why there's a split like that. It might be worth just saying, well, if it's 7 months, if it's basically a split decision between 12 months and 0 months, I don't see why you couldn't just make it 6. Make everybody upset, but equally upset.
Yep. Saphir?
Yeah, I was just going to voice support for the 12-month option, just due to the conversations we've had in the past on network runway and the fact that we are planning to front load a lot of this ramp-up period in the first year. I see it as the perfect combination of letting people obviously get the tokens that everyone's rightfully entitled to since we've launched, but also giving them that opportunity to see us execute and deliver on those promises that we've been talking about for that first year. And then by the time the end of the first year is up, they can gradually sell throughout the year. They could wait and see. They could do whatever. But it gives them enough time to still be casually invested in the network and what's happening on it. Versus I'm afraid of with an instant airdrop, you're just going to have a lot of dump and runs. And it's in everyone's right to do that. And, that's their decision. It creates opportunity for people who see investment opportunity in that potential dump. But what I'm more worried about with an instant dump and run is even less so the token price, because that can recover, is more like the lack of attention that would come from that. Like, we've essentially got an embedded community of IOTA and Shimmer holders, and you'll always hold a little attention while they still have some investment with you. And if they just offload that all immediately, they'll forget us and then have no opportunity to see if we deliver on those commitments or not. And yeah, I think, we'll ultimately prove ourselves in that year, but giving it a year to vest gives people that time to still be passively involved, if nothing else, while still getting rewards up front.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. And it's really, I think this is interesting where it's, one of those, this is that time where, I think there potentially could be one, a lack of education in the aspects of tokenomics and supply and demand, with the community making a decision, and potentially is half the community looking at the low-hanging fruit. Well, if I get these tokens, maybe I can make a couple bucks, and not really focusing on the long term. I think it's pretty undeniable on just basic crypto economics that if there's a flush of supply with just about absolutely zero demand, then there is going to be, without a doubt, a price push down, which the knock-on effect would be make it extremely difficult to get incentives out to people and build the network. The other aspect is, risk, and risk is probability and consequences. And, if we look at it as what's the probability that the price dumps to the point where we can't even fund things, and you compare two scenarios of an instant drop versus a 12-month drop, the instant drop is going to be extremely high probability, and then the consequences, we won't even be able to build anything to the point that the token can have value for a long-term evergreen situation where the community treasury can essentially refund itself and stay in for perpetuity and support growth. Whereas 12 months, that probability is still there and that consequence is still there, but it's less, right? So if we literally just took a risk approach to both of these positions, the 12-month would certainly at least allow for the opportunity that the push on price would be much lower. There'd be limited supply, at least for that first 12 months. And exactly like both you said, it gives an opportunity for the team and the community and the network to survive. And if it does, and it shows, hey, this actually could be an investment, by the time that's all being released, then individuals will actually start, hopefully, saving those tokens for a long-term investment. Should we delay releasing the airdrop to give the governance team a bit more time? Yeah, I think that's a good stance in this, where it's such a close vote. I would say at least the next week, let's take a vote, but with only these two answers as an option. So instant and 12 months. And, let's at least get that data. I never want to go against the community, but it's the same thing. It would be like, if the community says, oh, we only need one coordinator, okay, those of us that are involved, those enough that have the technical, knowledge, just know that's just not, viable. So, not to make a...
Can I just mention something, Deep Sea? Even though it was 18 to 17, there were also 3 votes for the middle, which means neither 18 nor 17 was an absolute majority. So I don't think you're really going against the community by holding off on a decision.
Yeah. And what will be interesting is those 3 votes. Let's see. if those three votes were split between the two, then then we're going to have a majority at that point, you know. Yeah, I think that's at least the next decision. Just because it's so close, let's give it a little bit more time. Um, and Yeah, let's just bring that down. I think that's a good next move. And then, you know, at the end of the day, we make a decision and move forward with it. And like you said, someone will be pissed off at the end, or everyone will be pissed off at the end. But you know, I mean, I think, you know, it's pretty realistic that if we want this to have a chance, we have to try to at least give it some time and give us some time to build this network and show that it can have value. And you know, kind of like what you said, Edward, it's like there's just nothing to do with the tokens right now. Like, let's get some games on, or let's get some, you know, whatever dApps going, and then you know, and then it actually has a chance because people can do something with the tokens. So okay, does anyone disagree with doing another vote with an instant and 12-month only option, and kind of see where those votes come in? Going once, twice, three times. Okay. Bill Poster, can you set that up then? Let's see. Thank you, sir. Okay. So here's a question. Has anyone heard from Garrett this week? Bill Poster, have you heard from Garrett at all? Yeah, I haven't. Saphir reached out to him. He hadn't heard from him. And we still have the TAN website down, which just kind of goes to show, even in these early stages, it's best to have sort of backup access, you know, in case something happens to someone, that the infrastructure variables, such as the website, you know,